the store's Facebook. All right, the April block is the Moon and Star block, which is on page 86 of your book, if you happen to have it with you. If not, this is what it looks like, okay? The templates are a few pages back on page 93 is the 12-inch. If you're doing the 9-inch, be sure and use, there's a page for the 9-inch, but be sure and use 93 is the 12-inch templates. You're going to use template J and template K and not template L. So you'll use the narrower of the two arched ones and then the little piece of pie one, which is the K one.
Does it tell us to use those two?
Yes, it does. It also, farther back in the book, in the last chapter where it has all the techniques, also on page 116 has the instructions for the curves and for the trimming it down. I'll go over all that, but if you need a refresher, that's where that is, okay? Now, are there any of you that have not done Drunkard's Path or the curved piecing before? Okay, all right.
Oh. You're the winner.
Yeah. You win your
Okay. When you're doing your cutting, cut your white pieces first. Cut your white squares first. You'll cut 4 4¼ inch white squares and 4 3½ inch white squares, and cut those first, and then cut your templates. So you'll take your J template, and you may need to nest them together. That's why I said cut your full squares first. So you know you have those, and you may need to nest them together so the curves, you know, instead of laying them out side by side, all 4 in a row, you may need to cut them to where they nest together. Okay. And then out of the colors, each of the colors, you're going to cut one 4 1/4 inch square, and then one of the template K, which is the little piece of pie. Okay. So you'll make your half square triangles just like we've done a bunch of times. You're going to make one white square and one color of each, so you have end up with 2 squares of each. They're oversized, so you're going to square them up to 3½ inches. When you're done, and you're going to use all of them. Sometimes we've had extra, but you're going to use all of them. And when I press them, I press one towards the color and one towards the white when I did it. And that way, when they meet together, that will help you a little bit with, there's a lot of bulk right in these corners. That will help you just a little bit on those. Okay, we're to the curved pieces. To make those, you're going to fold your white piece in half, and finger press the center of the curve, okay? Then you're going to finger press the center of that, so you have the inside curve here, the outside curve here, finger press them both. Then when you pin them together, you're going to match your centers and do it with the white on the top, okay? And you're going to find your center, and you're going to put a pin right in the center and do a small, kind of a small bite with the pin. And I'm going to send around a sample of a really heavily pinned one so you can tell what I mean. Then you're going to stretch out the white to fit, because you have 2 opposing curves, okay? So you're going to stretch them out and line up the outside edge and put a pin there, and that one pinned pretty heavily to hold that pretty straight. And do that on both sides. So then it's going to be kind of puckery here because it's, you know, 2 opposing curves. So you're going to stretch that out, and like I said, I pinned this really heavily so you can see how that is going to fit together, okay? Sew it with the white to the top so you can see where you are. If you pin it, if you sew it this way, it's going to try and cup up on you, and it's going to be hard to see where you are and if you have the white smooth or not. So sew it with the white on the top. And like I said, this is pinned super heavy. You don't need to pin this heavy if you don't want to. You certainly can. When you sew it, use your needle down feature on your machine if you have that. And sew a few stitches, pull up your presser foot, adjust it a little bit, sew a few more, because it's going to kind of want to, you know, fold up because you got a lot of extra of this white, you know, to deal with. So that's why taking the smaller bites with the pins helps ease that, you know, in better. So, you know, sew that really slow. I mean, you only have to make 4 of these. It's not, you know, you're not going to be doing it for days. But, you know, don't expect to do this walk at 10 o'clock on Friday night and get it done in 30 minutes. So I'll pass that around so you can see that. Okay, when it's done, you're going to press it towards the color. And that then smooths all that, you know, you feel like you've stretched that piece so out of shape, but it comes back in its curve like it was. And this piece is oversized, and you can see I've drawn a line on it. It shows again in the instructions how to square it up, but you know, there's quite a bit extra that you're going to be trimming off. So how you do that is from this stitching line, right next to the edge, you're going to line up your ruler 1/4 of an inch away from that stitching line on either edge. The seam starts sloping immediately past the edge, so you won't be able to line up the 1/4 of an inch all the way across there, but just right on the very outside edge of it. And then, you know, make sure you have your 3.5 inches all the way around, and like this one, I'm going to be trimming just a little bit of the color off because it got a little bit wonky when it was sewed. But that, you know, that's pretty normal. But just make sure you have your full 3.5 inches. And you should, when you're done, then you should, when you trim it, you should just have this extra 1/4 inch of white on either side of the color. Okay, I'm gonna pass that around too, so you can see how we lined that up on the ruler. Okay, then when you make your block, you're gonna put it in rows like, you know, we do all the time. Your top and bottom rows will just be the triangles and squares, and then your center will be the 4 circle blocks that you've made. It's your block, so do it however you want as far as where you put the colors. If you want them all to, you know, we have some people that are very precise and want all the colors to match, so I laid it out with the color in the corresponding corner. But, you know, if you want your colors mixed up in the center, it's your block, you do it however you want. So you'll do all those in rows. This right here, you've got a fair amount of bulk because you've got 2 seams here and 2 seams here all coming together. So, you know, do what you can as far as pressing. Sometimes I mean, when I do the rows, I press all the seams one way and all the seams the other, and, you know, back and forth, but you still have an awful lot right in there. So sometimes I'll use something heavy if I get it hot with the iron, and then I'll put something heavy kind of to weight on it while it's cooling a little bit, and that kind of helps hold it a little bit. That might be a good time to use that technique. But any questions?
Can I have
Yeah, good question. All right. We've got new stuff in the shop. That's usually where we stop.